I think one of the most major and disturbing causes of antimicrobial resistance, increasing and spreading is human activities. We have discussed most of the human activities, but we are all flourishing in industrial revolution. We all are gaining economically, commercially, but that is hitting us bad in terms of the quality health that we all want. Because unless you're really healthy, what is the use of commercial and economic gains that you really make use of? Pollution of our oceans, mangroves, and oceanic or marine ecosystems in general is one of the major causes for antimicrobial resistance. Most of the industrial effluents, sewage, wastewater is all being let out into our oceans, which ultimately reach the mangroves, where microorganisms come in exposure of toxic chemicals, which are dangerous to even those microorganisms, and they try to develop resistance to these toxic chemicals, and they use the same mechanism of resistance which they develop against these toxic industrial chemicals, even against antibiotics, because the way they deal with either the toxic chemical or the antimicrobial agent remains the same. So once they gain the resistance, they know exactly how to deal with anything that is dangerous to them. So we causing pollution is hitting back on us. We are destroying nature, and nature is hitting back on us. All the sewage waste, all industrial waste is even being let out into water bodies like rivers and lakes and ponds, and we are destroying them completely. Microorganisms in these ecosystems are having undue exposure to toxic chemicals, and they are gaining resistance. So indeed, that proverb stands fit to all of us. We are digging our own grave. We have to value nature. We have to understand the importance of conserving nature, which we are a part of. If we are going to create imbalance in the ecosystem, it is going to hit back on us in several ways of calamities, and antimicrobial resistance is one such calamity, where we are bringing up a new pandemic which will be difficult to survive through. There are so many disturbing statistics that I'm going to place in front of you next week about how Indian natural ecosystems have been tarnished by our human activities, and they have become the hub of antimicrobial resistance. And that's very disturbing. So we as individuals, as responsible citizens, have to come together to understand that how we can curb our contribution to this grave issue of causing antimicrobial resistance. We have to stop that. So in general, we saw that in these all videos from the first week, we have seen that how microorganisms are everywhere. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. How we can use antimicrobial agents to control infections caused by microorganisms. We also saw that how some microorganisms gain resistance such that even antibiotics which were once helpful will turn completely useless. And once this antibiotic resistance emerges, how it can spread through gene transfer mechanisms and how it can become a potent problem. This tells us that this is the time for us to act towards this issue. I'm sure that several of you also have questions about how actually resistance happens in terms of the molecular level. We will even see that in general in our next set of videos, where we will discuss the mechanisms that bacteria possesses when it shows antimicrobial resistance. So till then, stay tuned.